This video is going to cover an activity on cash budgets. Okay, they give you information relating to Quibus hardware, and then they give you several things you're required to do. The first thing we need to do is calculate missing amounts indicated by A to E in the cash budget. So if you have a look here, we're going to work through each of these now. In this case, we may have to jump a little bit around with information, but it's easier to go in order A, B, C, and so on. Okay, so starting with cash sales now. They tell you in B that the business has only one supplier and commission of 7% of total sales is receivable in the month following the sale. So in other words, that 28,000 commission is equal to 7% of the total sales for the month before, which is March. And they also tell you that cash sales are 60% of total sales. So to get that amount there, we take the 28,000, we're going to divide it by 7% to get total sales, and then because we want cash sales, we will multiply that by 60%. Okay, B is the cash purchase of trading stock. And if you look at where it fits over here. Okay, they tell you now in terms of your payments to creditors. They say 10% of stock is bought on credit. Creditors are paid in full the month following the month of purchase. So in other words, this payment to creditors here of 28,250, that's what you paid back from stuff we bought in the month before, which is obviously March. So to calculate what you purchased for cash there, you're going to take the amount that they gave you and you're going to divide that by 10% because that was the amount purchased on credit, and to get cash purchase of stock, you times by 90%. Otherwise, you can take the amount you're given divided by what you're given, which was 10, and times by what you want, which is 90. You will get the same answer. Okay, C is rent income, and they tell you here the tenant rented a storage room. He moved in on the 5th of March and was required to pay only half the rent, and then the rent is going to increase by 5.5% on the 1st of April. So if you have a look here then, the rent that he paid us, alright, was 3,000, but that was only for half a month. So we're going to have to take the 3,000 and we're going to have to double it to get for the full month, and then add 5% to that, and that gives you the 6,330. Okay, the next one is the loan. The loan at 10.5% interest will be taken out on the 1st of April. It's going to be paid in 24 equal monthly installments starting on the 30th of April, and interest on loans also payable at the end of April. Alright, so let's start with the payments of the loan. If you have a look here, the loan that you're going to take out here is 180,000. So you're going to take 180,000 and you're going to divide it by the number of months that you are paying that back in. In other words, it's 180,000 divided by the 24 months will give you 7,500 rand per month. In terms of the interest, because we had the loan for the entire month, you take the 180,000, you times by the interest rate, and because you want 1 month, you divide by 12, and that gives you 1575. Okay, the next question asks you to calculate the amount received from debtors for April. Now, if you look here at your debtors collection, they say 45% will pay in the month of sale and receive discount, 50% will pay the following month. So we're dealing with April now. So we're going to take the April sales and calculate that. You were told for the sales here, we just go up to the cash budget. You were told the cash sales here were 237,600. I obviously want credit sales. So to get my credit sales, I'm going to take that 237,600 divided by what I've been given, which is 60%, and times by what I want, which is 40. And that gives me April sales. Of that April sales, 45% are going to pay you back, and you're going to give them 5% discount, so you're going to times by 95%. In terms of March sales, we worked out March sales over here. The cash sales of it was 240,000. So once again, you take the 240 divided by 60 times the 40% you want, gives you 160,000, and half or 50% of those debtors are going to pay you back, which gives you 80,000, and you add it to the one from April as well. Okay, the next question is to calculate the percentage increase in sundry expenses. If you go back up to the cash budget here, sundry expenses increased from 87,600 to 89,790. So for this, you're going to subtract the two and then divide by the original. So you take the new minus the original over the original as a percentage, so you times by 100, and that gives you 2.5%. Alright, then, in question 4, we've got to go right back up to the question, and they say, the cash budget for March and April indicates that this business will face serious financial difficulties. Identify 2 items to support this statement and quote. Now, if you have a look here, both of these months you are in overdraft. So that is the first thing that is going to cause an issue, that your final bank balance is going to be in overdraft. Added to that is the fact that in J here tells you the bank gave us an overdraft facility of 40,000. So in that case, we're going to exceed that by, 35,300 in the one month and 900 in the other month. So that's the second thing you have to mention. So your closing bank balance is expected to be an overdraft. Remember, you've got to quote figures, March and April, and the overdraft facility quote figures is only 40,000, and that would be exceeded. Alright, and then the last question here asks you to refer to information K and explain why each item reflects a problem and 2 points in each case. Okay, so let's have a look at K now. Okay, so can you see here with K, alright, your budgeted collection was 174,200, you actually only collected 61,800. So actual creditors collections are 61,800, below 174,200. Okay, and then the second point is actually 1 point, sorry. So debtors are not adhering, they're not following the credit terms. In terms of your payment to creditors, you're supposed to pay 39,400, but you can only afford to pay 15,600. So you are not paying as much as you're supposed to. You could lose out on settlement discount. Another thing here you could mention is you could be charged interest on overdue accounts because you are not following your supplier's credit terms. Then for the insurance, you will see that you budgeted to have insurance, you actually didn't insure anything. That's a problem because if something goes wrong, you're not going to have your business assets protected. So because you're not paying the insurance of 2260, your business assets are not protected. And that can cause major issues if something goes wrong. Let's say you have a major flood or something like that, and everything, all your stock gets destroyed, you won't have any insurance, so you won't be able to claim. And then the last one here is drawings. Okay, the owner budgeted to take 18,000 Rand per month, but he actually took 52,000. Now that's a serious problem here, especially as you're going to have major cash flow problems. So for this answer here, the owner's taking 52,000 instead of 18,000, and this could cause cash flow problems, which obviously was the case if we looked at number 4 above. Okay, you'll notice I didn't do any activity on income forecast. It's not that you don't have to know how to do it, okay, it's just that cash budget, particularly in grade 11, is the main focus. So I'm only going to cover what I think is the most important. Okay guys, that's it for now. Thanks very much.